All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to the Monday Morning Mindset Podcast. Paul McLean here, and what an honor and privilege is it for me to join you today. I'm excited to have you guys on each and every week, and I hope this podcast serves you and serves you well. I always sit back and think, hey, what's the most important topic I believe that could really set you up for success for this week is better than last week, and so on and so forth as you finish the year. And so today's topic, man, it's an important topic. This is a topic that has shifted my business. It's shifted my marriage. It's shifted my parenting. Everything in my life has gone to another level when I've done this discipline and I've done it well. And so today we're talking about the power of reflection and really want to unpack exactly what that looks like for you and your business. And so how you can take what 2025 has to provide for you and ensure that you go into 2026 that much more wiser, that much more strategic to go out there and hit the goals that you've got in 2026. And the truth is this, you're much closer to a breakthrough than you think you are. And a lot of times one thing that gets us to that breakthrough is reflection. And I don't know about you, but I know that you probably know somebody like I know that's gone through this perpetual cycle that just never seems to end, right? Like it's just, in fact, I remember talking to an agent, and I used to, I remember recruiting agents at an early age. I was 19. We would have Craigslist ads ran at the time and all these different things before social media. And I'd talk to, these guys that were seasoned in the business. They'd be like, I've been doing this for 30 years. I had one guy, he's like, man, I've been doing this longer than you're alive. Well, I remember this one guy, and he's like, dude, I've got underwear older than you. And I was like, bro, you got to get some new underwear, man. That's freaking disgusting. And you should probably look at joining us because you've been broke for 33 years. The reality is their experience that they had, this 33 years that they had, it didn't matter because they had just experienced the same year one 33 times. Well, how did I know that? Well, they weren't even making a six-figure income yet in a very lucrative business. And at the time I was 19, at a 50% commission, because that's where I started, I was able to make $100,000, not because I was special, but because I had certain disciplines. I was in an environment, I was in a system that allowed me to go out there and execute and see great fruit from it. But they had just continued to do the same thing over and over and over again. And so that to me was a reminder that, man, reflected upon experience is what brings insight to the table. And when insight's on the table, that's when you can go out there and actually grow, develop, and get to the next level. Because just experience alone, it doesn't mean a whole lot. But reflected upon experience is the teacher. That's where insight is birthed. And so today, let's talk about what that looks like practically and specifically for you. We're in the fourth quarter, and so this is the best quarter for you to reflect. I remember, I want to say last week, I can't remember what team it was, but it was a team that came back, and you probably, as I'm saying this, if you watched the games, 2 weeks ago, you would remember what I'm talking about. But the coach was talking to the team after the game. He's like, hey, can we win the game in the first quarter? And the guy's like, no, we can't win the game in the first quarter. He's like, can we win the game in the second quarter? Like, no, we can't win in the second quarter. He's like, can we win in the third quarter? Like, no, we can't win in the third quarter. He's like, but can we win a game in the fourth quarter? And they start freaking out because they had just came back after being down a good amount of points, all three quarters, but boom, in the fourth quarter, they turned it all on it. Now, why is that a thing? Well, because like Maxwell says, all is well that ends well. And so if you can end this fourth quarter, you can set yourself up for a massive 2026. Now, what's the one thing that you don't want to do? You don't want to just continue to do the same thing you've done all year and say, well, once 2026 comes, that's going to be when I make those adjustments. Because we all know that January 1st is kind of like this national reset day where everybody kind of steps in and says, okay, this is the day where I'm going to make some adjustments. This is the day I'm going to make some tweaks. Well, the problem is this, and I guess I'll illustrate it this way to kind of give the right perspective on it. If you're flying from California to Florida, and that's the goal, right? Well, if you're 1 degree off, it doesn't matter a whole lot. You're going to still kind of be on the same trajectory as you fly over Arizona, New Mexico, or what have you. You're going to be pretty much in alignment. But as you get all the way over there, that 1 degree over a long period of time, all of a sudden you'll land, but you won't be in Florida, you'll be in New York. And I don't know if you've ever seen this happen in your life where you're like, how the heck did I get here? Or in your business, like, man, how did my business get here? I expected to be here. However, I'm way over here. What takes place? Well, it's just a little bit off for a long period of time. And see, what I can tell you is this: the longer you wait to make those adjustments, if it's, man, January 1st, I'm going to make these adjustments, well, you've kind of done too much flying. You might be too close to your destination to actually get to the place where you can correct and still land where you want to land. Like, don't stack the deck against you. See, I know that a lot of people come, January 1st, then I'm going to invest more in leads January 1st. January 1st, man, that's when I'm going to start recruiting. January 1st, that's when I'm going to go to the gym. January 1st is when I'm going to, make these decisions to eat better. Well, man, January 1st comes, and because you're like, I've got 2 weeks left to just go all in on the thing that I shouldn't be doing, but I'm just going to do it just for a couple more weeks. Now come January 1st, you've already got the deck is stacked against you. And this is a game that you don't want to lose. Why is that? Because I could tell you one thing that I've come to the conclusion of as I've reflected on the time and the season of where we're at with Pinnacle. This season is probably not going to happen again. Like, we're a year and a half in. We've got unbelievable momentum. We've got more growth, the fastest growing new IMO in the country by far. Like, not even close. We've got an unbelievable leadership team. We got unbelievable success stories and people coming on board with all different ages and ethnicities and backgrounds and experiences, seeing the same thing and finding great success. We've got the national summit coming up in the next 6 weeks. That's going to be a springboard for people make big decisions at big events when they're sitting there and they see it. And maybe they've had glimpses here and there, but they actually get this clear vision of, man, this is where I could go. If that person could do it, why can't I do it? If they could build a big business, why can't I go out there and do it? And then you have a roadmap to do it, and you leave saying, man, I'm going to sacrifice these things because I really believe I can get here, and it's going to be worth it. And then all of a sudden, boom, things start to shift and change, and businesses explode. We're in the best time ever. What does that mean? That means, man, you want to go into January of 2026 with great wins already stacked up. You're casting votes for yourself all the time. I know that for myself. This whole thought that I've had and I've battled with most of my life, which is like, man, I'm just not good enough. I could have done more. I could have done better. Man, it doesn't matter what I accomplish. In my mind, I'm always thinking like, God, I could have been better. I could have planned more. I could have thought more. I could have executed better. I could have been more intentional. And the truth is, that's true. I can find a lot of supporting evidence to support that statement of I'm not good enough. And everybody can, right? Because we're not perfect. So we're always not going to be, in our mind, we could say not good enough. I always could have planned a little bit better. I always could have been a little bit more intentional. And see, but that thought alone is a thought that holds me back from going out there and living in my true identity, which is I'm more than enough. And I'm not my successes, results, failures, who I am as a child of God. So when I reflect and I'm reminded of no, I'm the right person for the right time to go out there for a time just as this to find success, that reflection also helps me with identity. Or is my identity aligned with who I need to be to go out there and see the success that I want to have? And so reflection is such a powerful, powerful thing. I just want to encourage you guys that, man, this is the time to reflect. And I'm going to give you some very practical steps of what that looks like and how to reflect. But just know that this is crucial. What you don't want to live is an unexamined life. Man, to me, I believe an unexamined life is really a life that's not worth living, because that's a life that's just led by default. Man, I want to have a life by design. And so really pausing and reflecting and unpacking some specific things is so essential to break you out out of that stage of insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And we've seen that multiple times. I've seen that in my business where it's like, man, I just expect to go write 10,000. But then my lead strategy is a lead strategy for 5. So I keep investing the right amount of leads to get to 5,000 a week, but my expectation is, man, I want to write 10. Well, I'm going to go insane because I'm doing the same thing expecting a different result. That's not going to work that way. So reflection allows you to identify that. I remember one of the things that I reflected upon early on in my reflection moment, it bred some great insight for me to make changes and take my business to the next level. It was just simply, I didn't realize that I was ordering leads on Monday, and the next week I'd order them on a Wednesday. Next week I'd order them on a Friday. the following week I would order them like not the next Monday because Friday, so there's only 2-3 days left. So I would order them the Monday after that. So I would skip a whole week unintentionally. And what I realized is I was like subconsciously doing it because in my mind I was kind of like saving money. Like I was able to like somehow get away with investing less by doing it that way. And I really didn't realize that I was doing it, but it was like a subconscious thing. And I was hurting myself. It wasn't like I was cheating the system and I was able to net more because I invested less. No, I netted less because I invested less. And I started to realize that, man, like, and I remember going to a meeting and they were talking about it. And I started looking at my investment, how I was looking at leads. And I was looking at leads as like an expense. Like if I could get that expense down, opposed to, man, numbers don't lie. Like I should build confidence from my lead investment because if I invest X amount, it always leads to this amount. If I invest every $100 leads to $1,000 in premium, well then I need to just invest $1,000 to get to $10,000. So now I'm excited, like I'm fired up to invest this amount because I know that amount will lead to that amount of contacts. Those contacts will lead to that many presentations. That many presentations will lead to that many closes. And so I was able to reverse engineer and I got excited about it. Well, that came from just some reflection and looking at what my lead investment truly was. Not just being like, man, I think I invest $1,000 a week. No. What does it actually look like? Are you inspecting? Because you can't expect what you don't inspect. I can't expect 10K. I can't expect a growing business unless I inspect my activity and what's really working. What's working, what's not working, what am I doing that I shouldn't be doing, what should I be doing that I'm not doing. All those things come through reflection moments. And you kind of look at, lottery winners. Lottery winners, I think the average or the statistic is like something pretty crazy. It's like 98% or something like that of lottery winners go bankrupt within like 24 months. It's like, dude, how does that even happen? Well, it's because they've lived in the same pattern of comfortability of like, this is just the income they're used to. So they don't realize it, but subconsciously they go and spend the money, give the money. I mean, one thing, like they could go buy a house for $10 million. Man, I got a house that's paid off. At least I'll never lose my house. Well, then your house is, still got property taxes on it, and the property tax on a $10 million house is inordinate. It's like $120,000 a year, plus you got homeowners insurance and maintenance. So you're going to be paying $200,000 a year for a house paid off. Well, now you spent the money, you don't have the money, so now it goes to tax default. Somebody else buys a house. Like that's the way it works. It's subconscious. Like you don't even realize it because there's no awareness, and awareness is bred in reflection. And so, very important to make sure that we have reflection and pause moments. Now, how does that look like? Let me give you a couple practical things real quick. Well, it could be daily journaling, right? Like in the morning or late at night, just journaling about your day. Like, who did you spend time with that was really productive? Who did you spend time with that wasn't productive? Who should you have spent time with that you didn't spend time with? What were the most productive moments in your day? What were the least productive moments in your day? What was the greatest distractions that kind of pulled you away and pulled you off track? Because distraction, in essence, what it means is like it's a pulling away. It's a separating, right? So maybe you were on track. You had a vision of that day, but something pulled you off that track. What was that? What can you do tomorrow to ensure that that doesn't happen again? And so these are just some self-awareness questions that you could ask yourself. Was I disciplined? Did I hit my activity goals? Did I have activity goals? Did I invest the right amount of resources and leads? Did I post on social media throughout the day while I was waiting for an answer on the other line? What was I doing? Was I productive with that time? How can I collapse time frames? Like I was just sitting there listening to phone calls. What could I have done also that would have helped build my business so I could be making money while I'm making money? Or I could do two things in one. Well, no, man, I could actually probably start DMing people in different, sales industries and inviting them to the nightly webinar we have that's live every day at 5 o'clock Pacific time. Did I do that? Well, no, I didn't. Okay, well, tomorrow I'm gonna do that. Tomorrow I'm gonna put that in place. So you write it down. This is what I'm gonna adjust. This is what I'm gonna do. When you're at the gym working out, what were you listening to? Was it the most important thing you could have been listening to? Well, I was listening to music. Well, great, that feels good. Maybe you hit that one extra set, man, because Tupac just spoke to you the way he needed to speak to you. But are you trying to just get physically stronger? Or are you trying to get mentally stronger? Are you trying to get spiritually stronger? Did you lift some mental and spiritual weights while you were lifting the physical weights? What can I actually listen to? What should I be listening to? What do I need the most? Is my sales training, am my close ratio a little off? Maybe I should listen to some sales stuff. Man, do I just feel like I kind of have this negative expectation on what my future is going to look like? I just kind of like have this really falsified hope because I really don't believe it. I don't have assurance. I'm not confident in what I hope for. My confidence is weak in it. Man, maybe I need to get some more faith. What can I listen to that's going to build my faith up so I believe that I can go out there and actually see the results that I want to see come to fruition? Like, what does that look like? See, these are just some self-reflection questions, but you could just journal it every single day, right? What was the most important thing I could do today that's going to help me go to the next level in the areas of my life that matter most? Business specifically, what's the one thing you could do today that's going to increase your sales? What's the one person that you could spend time with today that's going to help uncover blind spots and set you up and give you some footprints to step into that's going to guide you around the path from going from 5K to 10K a week, or whatever, what does that look like, right? What's the one thing you could do today that's going to help your marriage or relationships get stronger? What's the one thing you could do today that's going to help your parenting get stronger, right? What's the one thing you could do today that's going to help your fitness be better and be that much, in alignment with where you're going? What's the one thing financially that you could do to steward your finances better? What's the one system or habit that you don't have that you should have that'll help with that? These are just different questions that will help feed your business. What's the one person in my team that I should stop spending time with? Right, that was one of the things in my reflection that I realized is like, I just always believe that anybody can do this thing. I mean, I've seen way too many people, hundreds and hundreds of people that were a part of the team and organization that I saw find massive success in so many different stories of their past. A lot of them nobody would bet that they would succeed, and they're making 500 grand. Like I've seen it so many times that I kind of believe that anybody and everybody could do this thing. And what did that lead me to do? I was spending time with the wrong people. And so the people that I feel like were struggling the most, I spent most of my time with early on. And I didn't realize this until I had some reflection moment at the end of the year. I sat back and said, man, let me look at my organization. I drew out my whole organization, all my leadership team, underneath them, their leadership team, underneath them, their leadership team, their agents. And I was like, where did I spend time that I shouldn't spend time with? And I realized that I was spending time with all these people that really didn't want help. You say, well, they said they wanted help. They did say they want help, but you know a man by his fruits. They said they wanted help, but after all these conversations I had, there was no fruit. There was no action. It was the same thing. I was going insane talking to these people because I was expecting a different result. And I was doing the same thing, giving them feedback and giving them help and support, but they were doing nothing with it. Why? Because they didn't really want it. And what I realized is that you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. It's an impossibility. It just doesn't work. What happens is you both get frustrated. I'm frustrated because I want to help you. You're telling me you kind of want the help. You're frustrated because you're like, bro, you don't read the room. Like, even though I'm saying I want help, I just want to say I want help because it makes me feel good. I really don't want help. And I realized I was a person spending the wrong time with the wrong people, and I was hurting the people that needed the time because they were the ones that actually wanted the help because they were the best producers. So I shifted and spent now 80% of my time with my top 20% of my people. I spent very little time, if any at all, with the people that really weren't doing much, weren't having much fruit shown, and I would just kind of give them things. And once it was revealed that they weren't moving, I stopped working with them. And that was a big shift that allowed my business to absolutely exploded because now all my time was spent sowing seeds on fertile ground. But I didn't know what I didn't know at the time, that most of my day was spent fielding calls of people getting ready to get ready, about to do something. I'm going to do this. I'm going to invest more. I'm going to get this. Oh, today's a big day. Like what? But I didn't realize it until I paused and became self-aware. So I had to become a fruit inspector. Another big leadership mistake that I made early on was trying to give somebody an answer right away. Like they'd ask a question, man, what do you think about this? I got this situation or problem. I got this agent. And instead of me sitting back and just saying, let me kind of just chew on this and get back to you, man. It's a great thing, but let me kind of meditate on this and spend a little bit of thoughts on it and let me get back to you. I realized through reflection, I wasn't doing that. I was thinking that I had to give them an answer right away. And the truth was I needed to spend some time chewing on it to come up with the right answer that I didn't have enough attention and thoughts on it in that 1 second to give them the right answer. I needed to chew on it. And I remember that one of the years in my reflection moments in the end of the year saying, man, I really need to make sure I don't just think I got to give an answer right away. And from there on out, now, and if you ask me a question that or hey, can I do this, or can I have this, or can I move this, or what do you think about this? I'll just say, let me chew on it. Just because I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing and giving the right answer. It was a big thing in my leadership that made a massive, massive difference. And so questions that you ask yourself at the end of the year are essential and make a massive, massive difference. It'll help you from emotional spiraling. Like you start thinking like, man, these leads don't work and this doesn't happen. It'll allow you to not pick up an excuse. When you pick up an excuse, that's like casting quicksand in the path that you want to cross to get to the goals that you have. Because you're here and you want to get here in 2026. Excuses and blaming, justifying, it cascades quicksand. So now you're moving, but you're going nowhere. But when you have reflective questions, it allows you to take ownership over what's really going on. And now you can have practical steps to start moving in the right direction. I'll give you a case in point. When my daughter got sick with cancer, I could easily emotionally spiral. But then I sat back and I said, well, heck, if her body created this, then we can do certain things to help her body get rid of this. And it was just a practical thing when I sat there and reflected, and in prayer, it was seeking God. Like, if I can treat her body the way God intended, I'll see a miracle take place. What are things we can take out of her diet? What are things that she's exposing herself to? Pesticides, herbicides, forever chemicals, all these things, artificial flavors, seed oils. What can we do to remove stuff that's going to cause toxicity overload? What are some things we could put in? That allowed me to stop emotionally spiraling, because I came to the conclusion through reflection that, man, if her body created the cancer, we can do certain things to help her body get rid of the cancer. And it's the same thing as a producer. When you sit back and say, I'm here where I'm at as a producer or as in my business because of me. How can I make adjustments to get better? What does that look like? Right? What can I do to make small adjustments to ensure that I'm going to get to the place I want to get to and I don't end up in the wrong location? So as we wrap up, a couple reflective questions that I'll give you guys that you can spend some time. I would implore you to lock out just a half a day or 1 day, sometime between like December, 25th to the 1st. It is usually when I do it. I'll just pick 1 day. And in that day, man, I'm unavailable. I'm unpacking my entire schedule and calendar for last year, looking at the meetings, looking at my appointments. I'm looking at everything, and I'm asking myself, what were the biggest time wasters? What were the greatest time that I spent? Like, what was that? What were my accomplishments? What were my great wins? What were my biggest losses? What were in the biggest losses? What was a great lesson in that loss? Sometimes I wonder if like me, maybe you've experienced this. You're just so busy going from day to day that you've not really even unpacked the great lessons that loss provided. And that lesson that the loss provided is the very thing that's going to take you to the next level in 2026. But if you don't see it, you can't use it. But if you could just pause and reflect, it changes absolutely everything for you. What's God showing you in your life right now? What did you learn in 2025? What do you need to adjust in 2025? See, these questions that you kind of unpack in the presence of God. Now, I'm a man of faith. You could just do it in meditation. If that'll also help. I just believe that any great insight that I've received is from the Spirit within. And so when I can get just in quiet time, turn off all the noise, get into the presence of God, and I can have Him give me awareness of different things I need to stop doing, start doing. I've had my greatest breakthroughs in that time, in that 1 day of blocking out throughout the year. Now, that's not just say that you should only reflect one day a year. No, you should have many pause moments throughout your day. Have an alarm clock get set 3 times throughout your day and just say, pause, do some breathing in your nose, out your mouth for big breaths. Just ask yourself, what should I be doing right now? What's the main thing I should focus on? You'll realize, man, it'll get you back on track so you don't end up in New York when you're trying to go to Florida. It'll get you back on track. Those little pause moments. For me, one practical thing for all those that have a family is before I get out of my car and walk in the door, because I had so much go on that day, I'm kind of got maybe fatigue, decision fatigue, energy might be down. I just pause in my car before I get out and I breathe. I said, God, give me the energy I need to step in and be fully present with my family, because I don't want to give the most important people in my life my leftovers. I don't want to give them the lowest level of me, because I've already had such a long day and done so many things. I come in and just check out. God, give me the energy. Give me the passion to go in and be who I need to be right now. And that changed everything for me with my kids, my wife. As I stepped back in the door, I started to change, because I knew, like, man, who am I? Man, I'm a leader that develops leaders. It's not what I do, it's who I am. I'm a person that supports and loves and empowers and equips. So as I step back into my house, man, I need to be that. If I was that for my agents today, I need to be that for my kids today. I need to ask them, what did you learn? What did you love today? And help unpack their lessons and connect with them if I've done it for others. So just different things like this, guys. Reflection is so powerful. So I hope this served you and served you well. Block out some time. Go through some reflection. It's not a thing you just do once a year. You should do it, throughout the day. You should do this daily. But once a year, you should have a big block of time set apart where you go through all these questions that we kind of talked about today and really unpack 2025 and take what it has to offer. You want to plunder the whole year. You want to go back and make sure you look through 2026 in this future perspective of where you want to go, what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like to have this kind of income, this kind of lifestyle, this kind of difference that you make, all these things, where you're going to live, what it's going to, all the goals that you've got, the reasons and your whys of what you're doing, why you're doing it. You want to have that vision tied to the future. But as you now go from that vision, go to your past and reframe and take the things from 2025 that will help support the vision going into 2026. When you do it that way, you'll find the seed that God has got in 2025 that's going to be able to birth into something significant in 2026. So guys, I love you. Hope this served you well. Make it a massive week. Be strong, stay steadfast, and we'll talk to you soon. God bless you guys.